state is a fiercely competitive and ruthless society.
And now, After Hours with Rixx Javix.
Welcome to After Hours with Rixx Javix. I'm your host, Rixx Javix, coming to you from the darkest reaches of low-security space, live from the Stay Frosty Lounge. Grab a cold drink, light a cigar, and let's talk.
Works for me.
Could you say something?
I've never been on a podcast before in my life.
I know that's not true. All right. Okay. So we're here with Mike Azariah, which I just learned how to pronounce his name. Some of you may know him from the CSM and from his great Magic School Bus project, which we're going to talk about a little bit tonight. But also, well, you were on the CSM, so that's probably where most people would know you, right?
Yeah. Well, I ran for a lot of CSM terms and wound up serving for 3 of them. But It was funny. I was just talking in Rookie Help Chat today, and people, one of the ISDs mentioned it. Someone said, "What's that?" And the ISD actually said, "Ask Mike."
That's awesome. Oh, that's great. No, I was thinking about this. Well, you guys that are listening probably don't know, but I asked Mike to be on probably over 2 months ago now. Well before Thanksgiving, and one thing led to another, and he kept getting bumped for other people for some reason. And then my whole life,
because I'm not important.
He's not as important as Manic Velocity, apparently. But I don't remember why that happened. But part of it was probably because my life was falling apart at the time, and it's sort of gotten back together now. So we're back to doing After Hours, and I'm glad to have Mike on. And one of the reasons why, and I was telling my wife about this today. One of the reasons why was way back in the day when Rixx wasn't really Rixx yet. I had put together a crazy little event called the Death Race.
Oh, I love this story.
You remember this?
And,
oh yeah. So Rixx wasn't Rixx yet. I mean, barely anybody knew me. I wasn't space famous or anything. And I had tried my hand at this event. So we were going to have a race, and this was a legit thing back in the day because you didn't have interceptors that could just go through warp bubbles and things. So which has kind of killed the whole concept since then. But we were going to have a death race, which you sign up for it, and then everybody gathers in a system, and then Zoom off you go through. And at that particular time, it was Providence. So we were going to race from one side of Providence through the other side, and I think we had 145 or 150 people participate, which is not too bad for the first one.
Actually, for any event, having 145 people show up,
it's not bad.
Pay a fee is nice. Yeah,
it wasn't bad. Yeah, and Mike showed up, and I believe it was in a Hulk. Am I correct?
Skiff.
A skiff. Yep, it was a skiff. And
the reason being because at that time a skiff had +2 warp strength,
right?
Which meant I shocked the hell out of the first saber that tackled me because I actually slipped him.
That's right. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, I didn't really fly mining ships a whole lot, as you can imagine, but yes. And tell them what you had inside. I mean, you had a little bit of everything, I think.
Oh, I wrote
it was like a party barge.
Set of blog posts about this.
You did. That's right.
And it was called the Party Boat, and I had livestock, oil, lots of booze, cigarettes, exotic dancers of all types, tourists, college students. I pretty much pictured spring break and just transferred it onto a ship. And had a blast going through. It was funny the number of people who waved at me in local before we started and cheered when I went through the first bubble and managed to get out because everyone was going, if I shoot a skiff, he's probably just lost. And they're popping all the others, the first gate. And I made it through the first gate and into, what organization? Agony had a trap at about the second or third gate.
Right.
And and then I shocked them because that's where the saber was, and it caught me. But they had a good set of bubbles around it.
Yeah.
I just couldn't figure out an angle that would get me close enough. So the second time I came in, I think there were like 12 ships on my kill meal because they dogpiled on me once they realized this guy's a little slipperier than he's supposed to be.
Yeah, that was funny. That was a good event, I think.
I actually made it, and in your second death race, I actually made it to the finish line and crossed the finish line.
You did, that's right.
But those were really good things. But like you said, with the rules changed and ships changed, like the Interceptors, now it would just be an Interceptor race, and there'd be no skill or thought that there was to that one.
No,
to the original death race.
I had the last one that I did. I put some artificial, rules together and tried to make it happen. And I think we had like 500 people in that one.
That was picking up the Amarian tracks and that sort of thing, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. And I had the Tuskers set up a death camp for the inn, so to ensure that everybody died. I think there was only like a handful of people who actually lived to finish that one, but even that was a little lame because that was when the warp speed changes had already come in. The Interceptor thing hadn't happened yet, but the warp speed changes. I mean, back in our day when we first did it, everybody warped at the same speed, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah, you didn't have an advantage by taking one ship over the other. Oh, by the way, do you know why I made it to the finish line being a high-sec Care Bear pilot?
Why is that?
I got lost.
You got lost? That's funny.
I accidentally had my routing still set for choose safer. So everybody takes the short route, and I'm wandering through high-sec wondering how all the pirates are going to live. And by the time I realized and reset, I didn't backtrack. So I came at the finish line from the wrong direction that everyone else did.
Wow.
And that's why I crossed the finish line, was all the Tuskers had shifted their trap to the side everyone was coming from. Right. And I came wandering in
from the wrong side.
But I still crossed the finish line.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, that's hysterical. I always wondered that. You're probably the only one who did that, though, I would think.
Yeah, because everyone else knew what they were doing.
Everyone else knew what they were doing. That's funny. Oh,
I'm the one who has no clue of what I'm doing, but I still managed to get it done just the same.
Yeah, no, I honestly, I miss putting on events like that. We tried. It's harder. It's actually gotten, as Eve has gotten better, and I think it has. Generally speaking, over the years, gotten much better. It's gotten harder to do those kinds of things. I had those, and then we used to do frigate free for alls, and those.
Just a second.
No, it's okay.
Lost Mike.
Sorry.
That's okay, Miss Mike. Give him hell.
She just didn't know the mic was live.
That's okay.
It's
gotten harder. I think I used to do the frigate free for alls too, and we would have close to 1,000 people show up for those, and destroy 4,000 or 5,000 ships in a single afternoon. But it's gotten harder to have those too because of just the way the mechanics work. It's so much easier to disrupt and cause problems.
It's not the event is difficult; it's the disruption of the event that's difficult. So
the only thing you can organize, control it.
The only thing you can organize is roams, and if you try to do a roam for alphas, you might as well just call it the Children's Crusade. You're heading off to death.
Well, right, and then if you have anybody at all who's streaming live, then we do that. I mean, I've done it. Watch somebody stream and then go kill them, right?
Yeah.
So it's even on a slight delay, it's still easy to figure out where they are and
where they're heading. Yeah.
Yeah, and then go get them. Yeah, we've done that. We do that in Stay Frosty sometimes.
And that's the nature of the game. I'm definitely not complaining that that's what happens. I'd love to try to figure out a way to have an event that was difficult to disrupt without asking CCP to put us into Jovian space or something like that,
right.
A la the Alliance tournaments. But it would be nice occasionally to have something that wasn't taken over by various organizations or just shot down because they want to make the kill board green regardless of whether this is a good event or not.
Right. I mean, yeah, I don't really advocate sort of extraordinary outside influence, which, again, CCP having to do something in order to make it work. I mean, that's part of the joy of the sandbox, right? It's for players to figure it out on their own. I mean, those first few events, I never asked CCP to do anything. I mean, even back then when they would reinforce the node, right? That first two, I think the first two death races, I didn't even realize that they would do that for you. So
Yeah.
we didn't even bother asking. So, I'm not a big fan of that. But on the other hand, it is kind of sad that it's gotten harder to do them.
You still see a few live events by players per
Yes.
year. There
Yes.
is a few
Oh, absolutely.
frigate scrums and that sort of thing. But it's
Yes.
just my favorite events these days that are non-corporation held are things like Redemption Roads roams.
Right.
Because I'm still a big fan of community things where you don't have to join and sign up and move all your stuff to somebody else's place, that you can have an event that is a roam, but same for Spectre Fleet, Bombers Bar, the NPSI folks.
Yeah,
There's a frigate one as well that I never can remember the name of.
I love all of those, and I support all of them. But I unfortunately I can't participate most of the time because being -10 has its disadvantages.
Well, for the record, Empson
Yes.
Road will let you pick up, they'll tell you where usually they start in high sec on a low sec border
Right.
and offer people like yourself, just pick us up as soon as we cross the border.
Yeah, it's not that. It is partly that. I mean, I have tried before and been trapped in high sec, but it's not really just that. It's the fact that it's me. Because that has become almost an untenable position for me. I as often have people in my own fleets kill me as enemies or anything. So my presence is a major distraction. Yeah, it's a major distraction, and it usually only ends in me being very, very frustrated. The last one, I think I did 47 or 50 jumps to get to it, and I waited about an hour and a half or 2 hours for it to form up, which is not unusual in EVE, as you know. And nothing starts on time, and it takes forever to get everybody ready to go. And then I think I undocked and was instantly killed, lost my ship, and got potted, and I got potted back to 50 jumps. So
That's the end of that. Yeah.
that was kind of the last straw for me. I was like, that pretty much wasted, a good 3 or 4 hours of my, and for nothing. And so I support. I'll retweet. I'll write blog posts. I do artwork. I did the Bombers Bar logo, and I've helped those guys as much as I possibly can because I'm a big believer in it. But I really just can't participate.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is sometimes just what we do kind of determines some of the options that remain open to us in EVE.
Right. Yes. But I will say this, that I do sometimes still participate with an alt, but I will not reveal who that is. So that's one I keep to myself.
But you got to keep quiet on comms, or else, like you do have a recognizable voice.
Yeah, or I could change it, But yes, I don't know this. I don't know this Rixx Javix person. Who are you talking about? Yes,
I'm told I have a recognizable voice too, and it got hammered home when I went to FanFest and went over to one group and said, "You owe me." Walked up and people are just looking at me trying to squint and read the name tag.
Right.
And I said, "You owe me a hug," and all of them yelled my name simultaneously.
That's awesome. Well, which FanFest was that? Did you?
14, I think.
14.
Yeah. It was the last one that they paid for us,
The
CSM to go to.
Yeah, so that was the year before I went, and then you weren't there that year. So.
And I understand you guys are budgeting for this year?
Well, we'll see. Yeah, I think so. I think it might work. So many things about my personal life are still up in the air right now, despite a great positive, a lot of positive things are happening, but a lot of the details and things are still up in the air and yet to be decided. So, we've got our fingers crossed and we think we're going to be able to do it. It's just a matter of hopefully everything continues to stay moving in a positive direction. So,
Yeah.
fingers crossed.
Unfortunately, at that time period, that's school. So I'm a couple of years off of retirement,
Right.
depending on how the school's math and my math compare.
Right.
And once I do that, then I might be able to go back to a fan fest. I actually had to take a leave of absence when I did go to one fan fest.
Did you really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
okay.
so I lost a bit of pay, but it was totally worth it.
Okay, so that beginning of April thing didn't help you then, moving it to the beginning of April, because that's like
It didn't.
not spring break or anything yet.
Yeah. And spring break, I'm going to Mexico.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Whereabouts?
North of Puerto Vallarta or south. I have
sure.
trouble with age, direction, that sort.
Right. Is that is that Yucatan? Is that?
That's on the west coast.
West Coast.
And,
Yes.
It's a very small town called Bucarias. Yeah, Bucarias.
Okay.
And they have an all-inclusive there, so it's kind of
nice.
like you settle down, you eat, you drink, you sun yourself on the beach, and then you come
that.
home and feel bad about yourself.
I once won a radio contest, believe it or not, and won a week's trip to an all-inclusive on the other side on the Yucatan Peninsula. I absolutely loved that.
It's nice not having to
do
sweat
anything.
all the details and just show up for food, and there's food there, and it's good food. The funny thing is this all-inclusive is heavily patronized by Canadians.
Oh.
And so it's hilarious because when you say where you're from, people don't answer with country. They just answer with province.
BC, right.
And we went to a bar outside of the all-inclusive. Don't ask why we would go to a bar to pay for booze when booze is free if you stay on the property.
Right.
But it was all the TVs in the bar, it was March Madness. So, basketball's on. But that's only on 2 of the TVs. And the other 4 or 5 are all showing curling.
Curling, yeah.
And the Mexicans are looking at us like we're insane because we're watching this ice bullseye sport.
All right. It is a very bizarre sport. if it can be legitimately called a sport, right? It's very bizarre. I love curling. Every 4 years when the Winter Olympics comes and I get to remember that there is such a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about Magic School Bus? I guess that's kind of been your thing since you quit the CSM and shame.
I would love to.
Yes.
Although I got to say, and let me start with the CSM and then I'll fade into Magic School Bus.
Sure, yeah.
The voting is coming up in a while. Right now, the call for candidates for CSM, what number are we at, 12? CSM 12 is coming up. They just announced that today or yesterday in the dev blog. And so if you're interested in running, do not ever think that the only people who get to win are those in the major alliances. So they do. And if you have a voting block of 10,000 or 30,000 people behind you, yes, you have a very good chance of getting elected.
Yes.
But I can point to Steve Ronikin, who does not have a huge alliance behind him. He doesn't even have a small alliance behind him.
And most people don't even like him, so there's that.
But he is a nice, solid, a really solid representative. So he gets reelected.
Yep.
And I ran from an NPC corp or from tiny little corps, and I got elected.
Yep.
If you are a good communicator, if you are someone who represents a slice of the population that isn't being represented in low-sec or null-sec or wormhole space, if you can get the vote out, if you can talk to the people and make them listen to you, you can be elected. Yes. Ali Arras was elected. When she got elected the first time, she was a 6-month rookie.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, and so there is a history of you don't have to be a hardened vet and burned out. It's nice having some of the enthusiastic people come in who push for things and find out that the CSM may not work the way you thought. You are not a junior developer, but you do have the ear of CCP. You do get to know them on a first name, real name basis. So, and that contact and just talking to them as human beings, not yelling at them about how they've ruined something or how they're going to ruin something if they do this change, but sit down and say, that's nice, why are you doing this? Yep. Or have you thought about this? And You may not win all the battles, but hell, if you win one battle in an entire CSM year, then that's one more that would have been one more than what would have been won if you hadn't have gone and hadn't have argued.
Yes.
And
yeah,
so,
and the other thing, too, I would add, too, is that, it actually does matter. It does make a difference, and it is important. It's I think that there for a few years, it was getting to the point where a lot of people were thinking, and I maybe among them, too, was thinking maybe the CSM's time had come and gone, and that it was time to sort of start phasing it out, because the positive was, I think, being a lot pushed down by the negative.
And sadly, I served on one of the CSMs that was really bad for just drama, left, right, center. CSM 10 was a train wreck.
So you saw a lot of that, in person.
And I saw it inside and out, and got called names by fellow counselors. And it was bad, but we still got things done. It was mainly there was the ones who wanted to be yelling at each other in the public forums. And then there were those of us, and if you look, you don't see me screaming a lot of the drama. I was busy trying to continue talking to players and talking to CCP and acting as a bridge.
Right.
And that's what I always pictured myself as, was partially not a play tester, but a person you could bounce ideas off of. We're thinking of doing this. What do you think?
Right.
And partially as a representative. So before I went to summits, I would do everything I could to talk to various players, put out the call, say, if you got ideas, send them to me. And I had a book, and I took it with me and ticked off the ideas as I pitched them to the devs. So I would do my level best to take ideas that weren't total jerk ideas or ones I thought were stupid. And yes, to a certain, I do feel I have the right to say, that's a dumb idea, I won't take it. And if you don't like my reaction, try another CSM member. That's why there's so many of them, is so you can find someone who's sympathetic to your stupid idea of making a ninja ship that can shoot well cloaked.
Right.
There was someone who proposed that to me.
I don't doubt that. That sounds like something I've read on the forums before.
Yeah.
But yes. Yeah.
So, or and amazing. Some ideas would really, been sent some ideas that sound really, really cool, but they would demand an entire rewrite of the Eve code to implement.
Right. There's that too, yes.
And, but I just was in a thread about a week ago that said CSM should be old Yeller, taken out behind the shed and, put to sleep.
Right.
And to a certain extent, if you tried to sell me on that, say, a year and a half ago when we were in the midst of the drama,
right,
that person would have had a much stronger argument. But this year's CSM has been nothing but, have you heard one piece of drama or negative come out of CSM 11?
No, like I said, I was in the camp of, I think this thing is done and we should probably move on. I think Seagull's got this. I was comfortable letting it go on with letting Seagull have it, right? And we didn't need it. Incarna, sure. We certainly needed a CSM. And I've been embarrassed by it a few times. And maybe it's time to put it to rest. But this last batch, and not only the lack of drama, but just the quality of what's been going on, the things that are happening in Eve in conjunction with that, and if this is the way it's going to be, then let's keep it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I've got high hopes for next year also being good.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll, like you said, you don't have to be a long-time player. Obviously, the bulk of the CSM is going to go to the power blocks. It always does. But that leaves, 4 or 5 slots every year for, the rest of us. And I wonder, they're going to allow alphas to run. So I wonder if any alphas will try.
Have they said that?
Yeah, the community thing came out.
I didn't read that. Yeah, it came out a day or two ago. They can run, but I don't think they have to vote.
Maybe not.
That I'm fairly sure not, because otherwise think of what we could do if, I could create 50 or 100 accounts.
Well, they did address that too, though. If you have alternate accounts, and they will be able to check. They will make you run on the 1. I don't know how they phrased it, and I only read it one time, and that was yesterday. Or the day before. So I don't remember how it was phrased, but essentially it's felt like to me that they were hedging their bets on that. They were going to take a look at your account and your information, and whatever your most popular account was going to be the one they made you run under.
But I'm not saying run under. I'm saying having the ability to vote. Like there's a difference between being allowed to run and being allowed to vote.
Right. No, that's true. I mean, that's a good point.
Because if you can vote with an alpha, then people could start creating alpha accounts by I've got 5, 6 accounts because I was doing examples and making a few videos. And doing lessons.
I see what you mean. Yeah, no, alphas are not going to be able to vote for CSM. No.
So that's why I found funny that an alpha can run, but they can't vote for themselves.
No. But obviously that would be bad.
That'll be an interesting thing. So if we have alphas listening, which is possible, that is something to check out. Then comes the vote. Of course we
do, Mike. Everybody's listening to this podcast. It's the best one. So.
Well, I will tweet about it, but nobody listens to me either. So I did 3 years on the CSM. And finally, I'm getting back to work, and I'm focusing on that. My wife said 3 sessions is enough. Take a break.
Yeah, wow.
And happy wife, happy life. So
absolutely.
Just reach out and give her a pat on the back. So I didn't run in CSM 11, won't run in CSM 12. I'm not saying I'll never run again, but I'm just not running till I actually manage to retire and have too much free time again.
Right.
So, but in the meantime, I keep myself busy, and that fades us into the second thing, which is Operation Magic School Bus.
Right. Yeah. So how did that come about?
Well, that came about when the This Is Eve video came out.
Oh.
And I was still in the CSM at that time. And we had this huge influx of players. And if you look back at the history on, say, EVE Offline, you can see that spike that it caused in late November, early December of a year and a half. It'd be about a little over 2 years.
I was going to say it's almost, a little over 2.5 or so.
Yeah. So we had this huge spike, and the ISDs were getting overwhelmed. They weren't getting a lot of new blood in the ISD. There was kind of a choke point in the system for getting new ISD members in. And so some of the CSM volunteered, if we could be given permission, we would step in and help in the rookie help chat. And so Sugar Kyle, Steve Ronikin, and myself for a while became fairly regular, and I actually enjoyed it. So I have been more prone to stick there. Steve drops in now and again, and I haven't seen Sugar in quite a while.
Yeah.
But that's how we got, rather than finding a back door into Rookie Help Chat, we actually knocked on the door, asked the devs politely, can we come in and help? And they let us in.
Okay.
So, but the thing was, and to remind myself, to be able to answer the questions in Rookie Help Chat,
right,
it really helps to make yourself a rookie again. And start over. And so I made my first rookie account, went through the tutorials. So when somebody asked, I don't know how to do Mountain Sal Molehills number 2, I mined them 4, but it's not accepting it. And the answer is, well, moron, you mined it in a belt, and they wanted you to go to a specific dead space site, mine there.
Right.
So they could have a nice little choreographed incident happen.
Right.
And it helped. So every time they make a change to a new player experience, I've had to create a character and rerun the new player experience, so I am up to date on it. But I saw that even then, you got this rookie ship, and until you ran the career agents, you didn't have any idea how to fit a ship. We commonly get, we need ammo as a question, because the civilian ship doesn't, with the civilian Gatling gun, which if you look at is doing 2 points of damage.
Right.
Oh, it's horrible.
It's terrible,
They put a couple of 75 mil autocannons on or something like that, and then go out and challenge something and find out that they need ammunition in the thing.
Yep.
So I started trying to make some nice, simple fits, and when Alpha kicked in, well, prior to Alpha, I said, sometimes you don't need ISK. What you need is a ship. and preferably one that is fit so you can see this is what a fitted ship looks like. This will help you get through the beginning missions without getting your ass blown off or getting frustrated, because this ship actually comes with ammo. If it has a drone bay, I put a couple hobgoblins in it. And it's just, teach a man to fish, but first hand him a flippin' fishing rod.
Right.
And say, this is a reel, this is the line, that's the hook on the other end, put a worm on it, go fish.
Right. Yeah,
And
this is how it works.
Handing them ISK doesn't do that, because that just says, here, you got some money, go do something stupid with it. And they, for the love of God, always will.
Yep, always.
And they'll go out and buy the most expensive ship they can afford with the 2 mil that you give them and promptly lose it because they forgot to put guns or ammo or drones. So I formed Operation Magic School Bus, and the purpose of Operation Magic School Bus was to go around to the career systems, where scamming is forbidden. So that adds an air of legitimacy to a certain extent. They know, but they don't know that, so they still are paranoid. And say, all I ask is that you speak up in local, dock up, and you're under 30 days old, I will give you a ship. And what ship I will give you depends on your age. These days with alphas, if you're between 0 and 7 days old, you get a frigate. And it is racially appropriate. So at each, I have the prop. If I'm in a Mars space, then it's usually an executioner is my go-to these days.
Right.
Yeah. And then if you're between 7 and 22, 23 days, I give you a destroyer.
Wow.
And if you're in that sweet spot of under 30, but within about 6 days of 30 days, I actually have a few cruisers.
Wow. Nice.
So. And these are fully fitted. The cruiser, for example, for the Caldari is a Caracal, and I pretty much wholesale stole the fitting that Gorski Carr wrote up for Crossing Zebras.
Yep, that's a good fit.
As the Alpha Caracal. And so some of them are PvP fit. If the ship suits PvP, I'm going to fit it for it.
Right.
If it doesn't, like if you've only got 2 mid slots, good luck being a tackle.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to make a lot of sacrifices. You can tackle, but you got no defense, or you can tackle, but you can't get fast enough to get to him.
Exactly.
So, then I'll fit that as a PvE ship. And so each of them, Algos is a great PvE destroyer for the Galente.
Yes.
I know you could use it as PvP, but I've never found drones to be really PvP effective unless you're in a fleet and have a ball of death happening.
Right. Yeah.
And so I have, over the past 2 years, worked with a lot of people and developed fits that are alpha capable.
Wow.
And so I go, and then using a bowhead, which I'm very proud of. You don't know how proud of the bowhead I am, because I'm the guy who sold that to CCP as a viable ship class.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
So the bowhead is my baby.
It's your baby.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
They'd seen it, but I just took all of the stuff from the threads that were proposing it, and they had tugboat concepts and all that, and said, we need a ship to move it. And CCP's objection was, you do know that people will gank a big target that could be holding 3 battleships. And I said, I know.
Sure.
Persianeers are going to use this, and they're going to be shipping Nightmares and Macarials and that sort of thing. But I talked to the incursion people, and they said they're willing to accept the risk. And I actually did go to the incursion communities and say, I'm trying to push this. Do you guys think it's a good idea in spite of the fact you're going to be a bullseye? And they all went, hell yeah, we'd kill for that.
Wow.
And so I even took, CCP had the objection. I already had the, yes, I'm aware of that. And they accept the risk.
Right.
So I went off on a tangent. I love the bowhead. I use that. That's why I call it the Magic School Bus, because if you know what a bowhead looks like, it is a huge freaking bus of a ship.
It is, yeah.
And for the record, they built it to hold 3 battleships.
Right.
Well, it can hold 63 fitted frigates. It can hold about 30-odd fitted destroyers, or a mix therein of them.
Wow.
And so I literally go to the trade hubs, load it up, and take the bus and drop it off. But that's 1 or 2 trips a week, depending on which race I'm in. And the rest of the time, I'm in a smaller, faster ship, so I can do the bus run, which is what I call it. I'll do a race, go through. I'll announce my stops in Rookie Help Chat, and then I will go and yell in local and say, "You guys got 5 minutes. I'm here, but if nobody speaks up, I'm gone."
Right, right.
And the
Wow.
normal response is 5% of local will answer. And about 50% of them are busy accusing me of being some sort of scam and get the hell out of here.
Right, right.
And
So,
it
wow.
doesn't help that when they look at information on my character, it's the first thing they notice?
What?
My bounty.
Oh, right, right. How much is it up to?
15 billion.
Wow, nice.
And
Wow.
some will say, "Can I kill you for the bounty? I'll share it with you." That's not how it works, Ace. I have to die in 75 billion worth of billion ISK worth of ship to erase my bounty. It's not going to happen anytime soon.
No.
So they're going, "What?" Yeah, you're thinking the old bounty. New bounties don't work that way.
No.
And I have had people take pot shots at me, but anyone who presumes that I fly stupid, light, or unarmed is making a mistake.
Right, right. No, you've been around the neighborhood a few times, so you know what you're doing. Yeah.
And so somebody says, "Well, I'm still going to come after you," and I just tell them, "You're welcome to come."
Right. Right.
But don't assume I'm stupid. And as we had a joke on Twitter today, but it won't be today when people are listening to it. Eve Onion with the line that you got to ride on the magic bus, and then found out it had warp core stabs. No, the bus is not stabbed. The bus is tanked.
That's right.
And
that's awesome.
It is. I don't go into the specifics of my fit, but I did have to lay your heart to rest. So I did say it's not got stabs in it, and it's about as good as I can get. And still carry the loads, but I'm not one of those idiots who makes a freighter for maximum cargo hold, minimum tank. I'm the other way around.
Right.
So if I know anyone can get ganked at any given time, because you get enough people together, you could gank God.
Yes.
But it's whether you're going to go to the effort of getting that many people together to gank a guy who's carrying nothing but T1 fitted frigates.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a risk-reward option, right? And generally speaking, the effort, those people aren't idiots either, usually.
Yeah, they can do the math. Most of them are really good at the math.
Right, so, they're trying to maximize their time, too. So, generally speaking, and that's, that's how my alt has been flying for, 6 years, and I have yet to lose a freighter or anything, really, because it's just the same thing. I don't fly super expensive things, and I'm obvious about what I'm doing, and nobody wants to bother with it.
Yep.
Generally, there's bigger targets, there's bigger, dumber targets out there. It's like I've said to people before, the same thing applies to piracy too, is generally speaking, pirates are going to go after the easy, stupid, slow, wounded. It's like an African savannah, right?
Oh, that's a really good analogy.
Yeah,
and
the healthy
wildebeest.
Yeah, the healthy wildebeest are all doing their thing, but we're generally going to go after the ones that are a little easier. It's like the other night I saw a Vexer in local that was named after the pilot. And I said to somebody, that's like blood in the water for a shark. When I see a ship in local that's named after the pilot, it's like, it's Bob's ship.
Yeah,
Bob's
Mike
Vexer,
Azariah's
right?
Vexer.
Vexer. When I see that, I know a whole bunch of things about the pilot who's flying that. I don't care how old they are. They don't know what they're doing.
I got to interrupt you with one story.
No? Okay. All right.
Okay. I flew with the Bastards.
Right.
By invitation. Didn't join them, but just they invited me to fly with them.
Sure.
And we lost a ship. I lost my ship at one ambush. We'd made the kill, but we lost a few doing it.
Right.
And we looked around, and the only ship nearby was a T1 freighter. Not freighter, pardon me, industrial.
Right.
That I could mount a couple of small lasers on. And we had named all our ships after drinks.
Right.
But
nice.
They told me, no, don't name it. I said, what? And they said, do you know how sweet a bait you look if you travel around as Mike Azariah's bestower. It was a
It
bestower.
is so true. It is so true.
And they said, "You are now the forward scout and bait."
Yep.
And damn if I didn't draw. Like you said, I was the
It's like
chum
blood in the
being
water.
thrown into
Yep.
the water.
It really
water.
is. Yeah.
And so you'd have all these guys coming in, and then all of a sudden the rest of the bastards would come through the gate when I say,
Right.
"I've been engaged." And
Right.
all I did was I double tanked that puppy because I had to survive long enough. And I wish I could see the faces of pilots who think, "We've got an idiot. He's got some experience, but he still doesn't know how to name his ship. He's an idiot." And then
That's
all
awesome.
of a sudden, half the bastards show up and start opening fire.
Yeah. No, that's a great story.
Yeah, you're right that you can make an assumption, but you also got to be careful that the slightly smarter ones are aware of that assumption and may play to it.
Yeah, it's always the game that's going on. It's the mental game that's constantly going on, and when you're playing Eve, is that yes, all of those things are true, and other people know that, and then also we're always as soon as you discover something like that, you think the first thought in your mind is, how can I exploit this now? So it's always we've done it before, using ventures. We've had venture fleets. We've had our scouts flying in ventures, just going to belts.
Sometime when you're flying a venture fleet, if you could invite me the same way the bastards did, not to join Stay Frosty, but just come on. I would love to go on a battle venture fleet or a battle procurer.
Oh, well, the procurers are awesome. I love those. Yeah. You just got to get enough of them. That's the only thing. But we just did a battle venture fleet not too long ago, about a month or so. So we'll probably come up with another one sometime soon. They're a lot of fun. You do die a lot, but they're hysterical.
If I go into a Rome and I come back with the ship I left in,
right,
I figure I did something wrong.
Something not good, right?
Yeah, it's happened once or twice, but more often than not, when I go on Romes, I have 100% accept. I've already written that ship off when I built it.
Yeah.
Kind of like, this is fireworks. You don't buy fireworks to treasure forever. You go out, you blow them up, and you say, "Ooh, pretty explosion," but you don't have anything to show for it afterwards except for a bit of paper.
Right. So how long have you been doing this school busing thing? You should get your own skin for that, I really should.
I just celebrated, at the end of November, I celebrated the 2nd-year anniversary of Operation Magic School Bus.
Good
and
grief.
I've been doing
it that long?
steady. Doing a minimum of a lap a week, except when I've gone off on vacation. Like, obviously, the bus won't be running when I'm in Mexico.
Right,
But
sure.
other than that, I do a minimum of a lap a week. I help out in Rookie Help Chat. I talk in all the locals, and if people have questions there, want to say something. Now, I do want to emphasize, I am not a rich player. I've never found, ways to plex my account or something like that, because I'm not into min-maxing. I'm into playing the game, so I don't begrudge when I have to pay a subscription. That's part of the game. But Operation Magic School Bus runs on donations. And there have been some very surprising and very generous people over the past 2 years who have supported Operation Magic School Bus. They appreciate what I do. I figure some of them hang out in Rookie Help Chat and all and say, ask, "Can I have one?" And I give them one. And they're looking at it trying to figure out, how is he making a scam out of this? I didn't lose anything.
Right.
Is the ship insured? And they check and it's not insured. And then they realize, I'm serious. This is what I do. And the running joke is, I will keep doing the bus until I run out of assets. And every time I do that, damn it, somebody adds, I'm going to be the Flying Dutchman or the Flying Canadian of Eve, New Eden.
Right.
Because somebody will say, "Oh, well, we got to keep them up there." And they donate. Nash Cadaver and them just had ISK Starter. I don't know if you've seen that website.
Yeah, I did the logo design for that. Yeah.
And they asked me to put up ISK Starter, and halfway through, I think it's maxed out at 5 billion right now.
Yep.
And when I'm going full throttle on restocking my stations, I go through about 1 billion every 3 weeks.
Oh, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. I was thinking it's going to be worse than that. But no, that's pretty good.
It's, I want to say, by the way, on there, Carker, I love you. Thank you for multi-fit and multi-buy.
Oh my gosh! I can't wait to get to FanFest and give her a great big hug for that because yes, it is so good.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
was, we've been
so
asking for
good
that for
for
forever. And when she did
years.
multi-fit, it was great. When she added multi-buy to it, it was
Oh
like,
my
oh my
goodness.
God, this makes, because I used to individually fit 50
Oh
ships
yeah.
at a time or 30 ships
Oh
at a time, load them in the bus. And for the first I think it was 9 months before multi-fit came in, the amount of time I spent fitting compared to
yeah.
talking to people,
Yep.
and you have to focus. And I name all my ships, by the way. I never give them nobody gets a Mike Azariah drifter.
Right. Right.
Um, they all have
Excellent.
magic or most of them have magic in the title. So it's like
Oh,
the
that's a good
magic
idea.
algos. And it's just the people say, why do you name them? And I said, so I can tell the difference between the ones I've fitted and the ones that aren't fit yet.
Right. Right.
Because I need some marker. And now with multi-fit, it actually says, do you want to import the name as well? Oh, hell
Yep.
yes.
Oh
Quick.
yeah. Oh
You
my
know,
gosh.
so
I can
it
remember. I can remember the entire corporation spending the entire week fitting the 4,000. We would have 4,000 frigates or 5,000 frigates fit and ready to go for the
frigate
FFAs
event.
that we
Yeah.
for the frigate FAAs. And I mean, my goodness, can you imagine? And now I mean, just boom.
Well, you got to do them
So
in groups of 30, but that's totally
right.
acceptable. 4,000
That's
takes a
oh my
lot less
gosh,
time to just click and then sit back
so
while
much
it
easier.
punches them out. So
So yeah,
tools have been brought in, and like I said, I help people in Rookie Help Chat. I have a
right,
mailing list where I occasionally list changes I'm making to fits and forward things, various events that are happening. I'll
right.
let them know that this event is going on this weekend. Redemption Road, I mentioned them earlier, have a rookie roam where they will actually give, if you're under 30, again, that's the line a lot of us use for what a rookie is, because you're still in
Right.
rookie help chat. They'll hand you a ship. You can show up in a pod. They will give you a ship. They will teach you what a fleet is.
Oh,
They'll
nice.
have a couple of vets traveling with you, maybe in either a command Desi or a couple of Logi, and you go out on a frigate roam into Providence or wherever, have a good time, learn a bit of comms, even teach the scouts will teach scouting.
Wow.
Grey Gal, if you haven't interviewed Grey Gal, your welcome list is missing, and you need to put her on here too.
Sure. Yeah. No, I haven't gotten to that yet. Yep.
But
But they're on.
that's
Yes, on the list.
that sort of thing. I know that all of the big organizations also are being very welcoming of the alphas, and I try to keep track and in touch with them. I have no trouble with sending someone to Brave, to Horde, to Karma, yeah, and to Eve Uni, and I'll list all of them. I won't say this one's better than that one. I'll just say these people will help you if you're an alpha and going out there. But there's
Right.
lots of little organizations that will do the same thing. They just haven't made a name for themselves. Okay, so with Operation Magic School Bus, I'm supported by donors. I tell the players that flat out. But the funny thing is, I only do an explanation if 3 people or more actually answer in local. It used to be I explained when I arrived. I found that I was spending a lot of time typing, explain if I think people are listening. And so, but the explanation, my favorite line is Operation Magic School Bus is funded by veterans who want you to stay in the game long enough to fly with or shoot at.
Right. That's good.
And
Well, you've been doing it long enough now. Have you had any like guys you helped or people or players you helped like 2 years ago who are well on their way of being in the game for a significant amount of time now? Who
absolutely,
Yeah, that's
I've
pretty
had
cool.
people over a year old
Right
say,
on.
I still have the Algos you gave me, or I
Oh,
lost it the day after you gave it to me, but man, I learned stuff from
oh, that's
that.
so cool. That's so
And
cool.
I love the feedback. I've also had people saying, I'm probably going to quit. This was back when there was a limited time trial.
Right.
And they'd say, I'm probably going to quit in 2 weeks. And I say, that doesn't matter to me. I'm going to give you a ship so you
Right.
can have a fun 2 weeks before you quit. And now
Right.
that we've got the Alpha, they can come back and that ship will still be sitting in the hangar waiting for them.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's
So,
very cool.
and the one thing is, I never ask them to pay me back. And I get some who ask, look, I really, really want to pay you back. And I said, help another rookie in 6 months. I'll consider pay it forward.
Right.
If you help somebody else and say this is because Operation Magic School Bus helped me, that's payback plenty. If I ever get really short and of ISK, I will put the word out. And in the past, I've got people who are major scammers and like made outside media reports of scams that they had in Eve, who are donors to Operation Magic School Bus. I've got nullsec industry giants who are doing the same thing. I don't din them. I occasionally will go, guys, I'm getting a little short, and I'll put the word out to a few. But I'm not rich, and I emptied donations go to Mike Azariah. I emptied that wallet of all my assets when I started the bus so that I wouldn't have to do paperwork and keep track of what's mine and what's theirs.
Right. No, that makes sense. Yeah.
I can't be in a corp, so I can't use a corp wallet because it would be just begging Wardex if I'm flying a bowhead with a 15 billion bounty on my head.
Right. That might be the one that actually gets you killed. Yeah.
That would, a war deck would mean they could shoot without expense.
Right.
And the nice thing is I've been told by at least one of the major high-sec war deck corps, we wouldn't. In that they would not, they know what I'm doing. They know pretty much I'm the equivalent of the Red Cross. I prefer to think of it as a welcome wagon, but you're just going to catch a lot of fire if you shoot certain people who are doing, non-combative work.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's like trying to kill Kriba while he's, negotiating 2 Titan sales or something. It's just not really cool.
Do you remember the Kriba War?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Did you know that? I want to explain this to the listeners because this one's hilarious.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kriba was in LOSEC and got war decked and shot at by a small corp.
Yep.
And this was when Corp and Alliance channel, not channel, but on the forums, the COAD.
Right. Yep.
Found out about this and said, "This is our guy. This is the most trusted guy that we all trust." And they got this fleet from hell, and we were trying to take down. They were trying to take down one of his pauses, and they showed up to defend that pause and just annihilated everyone who came.
Right.
And I wrote an article about it for the Eve Tribune and actually interviewed Kriba. And when I do an interview, I have a rule.
Right.
I tell him how many questions I'm going to ask before I start. And I say, even if we go elsewhere, but at the end of 10 questions, I'm done. I'll write the article based on those 10 questions. And so I just asked Kriba, and I got his part. And I talked to the leader of the COD Forum Alliance that came to defend. And I interviewed the leader of the corp that had war-decked Kriba. And they had sworn that they were going to hunt him down forever, make it so he quit the game. Like, they actually were that mad at him.
Wow.
What didn't come out at the time was I was in that corp.
Oh, no way.
I had an alt. One of my, not an alt as in a separate account, just one of my other 3 characters was in that corp. And I was actually fighting on the side attacking Kriba.
Oh, no way. That's crazy.
So I got annihilated as well. But if anyone had done research, it was there to be read inside my blog in the role-playing part.
Wow.
But we were doing pause cleanup. Literally, we would look for dead sticks in high sec, war deck, and take.
Right.
But our leader saw Kriba with this pause and just couldn't resist it.
Oh, I couldn't resist, yeah. He just thought he was going to be an easy pushover, probably.
Well, no, he just said he couldn't resist it.
Yeah.
He just said that's one of the, it's like what you were saying earlier about you undock and everybody decides, yeah, let's kill him.
Right. It's just too much to pass up,
just
really.
Too big a name. I want his corpse in my hold.
Yeah.
So
I want that kill mill in my kill mill. Yeah.
But it was really funny because I was interviewing both sides of this engagement and not telling any of them I actually was in the engagement, just not as Mike Azariah.
Right.
So anyone who thinks that I'm a complete and utter Care Bear and don't know how to trigger F1.
Right. You've had your share.
I've had my share.
Awesome.
I just enjoy I really do like helping in Rookie Help Chat. I really do like doing the Magic School Bus and meeting the new people. CSP Guard and Mimic referred to me as the welcome wagon of Eve.
Yeah, no, you're a gentleman and a scholar for doing it, to be honest. And I wish there were more people like you to do that sort of thing. But I'm glad that you're doing it. I mean, you're certainly suited for it, and Eve is a better place because of it.
Good job. You did my eulogy or what? I'm not dead yet.
No, you're not dead. No, but I tend to welcome people to Eve in a slightly different manner, though, Mike. So
And according to the stats, your manner works just as well as mine, according to CCP and CCP Rise.
Yeah, no, it's exactly. I've seen that, and I've had this conversation with somebody, or Master Plan, I think it was back at FanFest. But it's my story is exactly that. I played E for a different reason than most people, but at least when I first started, and 2 weeks into it, and I was pretty much bored out of my mind, and that's when I first got exploded by somebody in LoSec, and that's exactly what sparked my, oh my goodness, what happened and how did that happen, and I need to know how to do that. So,
you want to know the funny thing? My first kind of shooting story.
Yeah, sure.
Was when I joined. I soloed. I was a missioneer, and I wound up meeting up with. While I was running missions, I was chatting in local with a mining corp. And they invited me to join because they didn't mind if I missioned. They always called me the cat because I would wander out or wander in. And, I didn't join mining apps maybe once or twice, but I was just there.
Right.
And but the thing is, as was wont to do, somebody found out there was a mining corp and war decked it. Now, your normal mining corp will button up, all go to alts, or just bail.
Yep.
We went after them. We popped the CEO of the other corp because he wasn't expecting a mining corp to
fight back, right?
To fight back.
Yeah, it's the old Care Bears with claws, right?
And so he was kind of shocked, and he'd come out with two ravens on either side of him. Come on, shoot at me. And we'd go, no, we'll wait. Sooner or later, your ravens will be gone, and you'll be alone, and we will be here.
Right.
And we are going to hunt you and any person. And the other thing was they handed part of this to me because, well, as you know, I like to talk. And I did a history of the corp and found everyone else they'd war decked and contacted all those CEOs.
Right.
And we made a non-official high-sec alliance specifically made to track every one of his characters, every one of his members in his corp.
Right.
I went into the kill boards and found out all their non-corp members who would
Mike,
get in on the kill.
This is borderline griefing, though, isn't it? I mean, isn't that a little bit? Yeah, it is. Okay. You're going to
We said we keep shooting you until you drop the war deck.
Right.
And he tried and came and tried for our pause, and we showed up, manned the guns, and said, "Come at us, bro."
That's awesome. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm a firm believer in information as a weapon.
Oh, absolutely.
And as a tool. And anybody who doesn't understand that, if they think the only thing you have is F1 guns,
no.
You don't know how Eve's played.
That's not it.
We had someone. Now, what's the term? Safari? When you come into a corp to try to gank everyone inside? Or what was it? AWACS?
AWACS, yeah.
We had somebody try that with the mining corp. And again, the CEO went, "Mike, can you handle this?"
Right.
And we all got out of his way, and he got bored, and he knew as soon as he docked, he'd be out of the corp, and we just said, "We'll wait. We'll be elsewhere.
Right.
And if you want to come, there'll be enough of us that you're going to have fun trying to do anything."
Right.
And so he said, "Screw you," and left, right?
Right.
I then made him a contact, and every time he joined a corp, I would contact the CEO and explain who he was and what he did.
Oh, nice.
And all his alts.
Yep. You're like his former boss, who's always getting called for recommendations, and
Yeah, but I won't wait for a call for recommendations. I contacted them. He did not stay in any corp for longer than 1 week.
Wow.
For the next year.
Wow.
Because, like I said, I don't shoot you with F1. I shoot you with information and friends.
Wow.
And I had a whole bunch of thanks from people who said, yeah, he was kind of asking about how to get access to Hangar. I said, I really wouldn't give it to him. And I followed him until he finally joined a corp I thought deserved him. And then I left him alone.
You left him alone. Nice.
Yeah. Oh, he joined Guiding Hand Social Club.
Oh my goodness, are they still around? Wow. Yeah.
I don't think so. So
No.
he joined something that was going the way of the dodo
Yeah.
anyways.
Right.
But it was just, I wrote them and said, congratulations, you have a really good recruit. This guy is and I explained why. Well, I said, I'm sure he's a perfect fit for you. And they said, thank you. And sent me a nice note back. But it was just the idea of, this is what I do, is I use information and I use friends and I hunt. But I'm willing to put guns on and go out there, but I'm also willing to talk to everybody else who doesn't like you.
Right. Hey, it's part of the game. It's a legit way to go, and obviously, I mean, and you know this, that all the major action in Eve, all the big stuff, all the things that matter are about information. It's about knowing information about something that and getting the advantage that way, and that happens well before ships are involved or fleets are moving or anything else. Intel gathering, spying, learning about your enemy, doing your due diligence on the kill boards, on the forums, and everywhere else, and getting your alts in the right places. That's what it's all about. That's how wars are won in Eve. Not so much about who's got more ships than the other guy.
I always find funny when the big engagements happen and neither side knows who's going to win. I'm going, why?
Right.
If you've got good information officers, anytime it's a fair fight, both sides have screwed up.
Right. I saw that quote today. It's a good one. And that's obviously, we all know that. I mean, again, there's also a way you talk about Eve sometimes when you're not really being serious about it. But again, but no, not writing your eulogy. Just it's for me. I talk to pirates every day, obviously, in Eve, and typically in these podcasts, I try to find people that I find fascinating or interesting or doing things that aren't. I mean, it would be, and I guess I will have pirates on the podcast too, but I don't mean it to sound that way. But I find it fascinating for people who are approaching the game in a way that I would never do it. So
from a different viewpoint.
Yeah, I mean, when I talk to Minxie, and the Signal Cartel people, I don't understand that at all. That is a play style that I find I would be bored to tears by that play style. But I'm fascinated by people who are doing it because I think it's great. It's great for the game. It's great for them that they found something that they really enjoy. And I don't mean to signal them out. It's true of anything like that. Mission runnings, people who do that or doing the things that other people do.
I was going to say there's no famous miner you could interview, but then I realized there is.
Yeah, there are a few, right?
Kriba technically is a miner.
Absolutely.
And, his third-party operation is good, but
yes,
he goes out and mines every day. So that's a side that you probably are going, I have no idea how he does this.
Right, yeah, no, and the people who stay in high sec constantly, never really venture out. I don't really understand the point of that either, but so those are the types of things that I find fascinating and why I really got interested in doing this in the first place was, most of the podcasts that I listened to, and I listened to a lot of them, were about the game. It's let's get a group of people together and let's basically have the forums in audio form, right? I'm gonna throw some ideas out, and then we're all gonna laugh about it, and then we're gonna talk about how the features and benefits could be better, and why don't they make ships that do this, and that's great. But I thought, let's find a way to find people who are doing things that I find interesting. I'm just going to have a conversation with them, like we did at FanFest, and that's really where it came from. Was all the people I met at FanFest, and all the conversations I had were wonderful, and they were great, and everybody was so friendly, and it's like, well, there's a way to bring that, so I don't have to travel to Iceland every week just to meet people. And that's kind of what this was about. So I'm glad to have had you on tonight, and I appreciate all the things that you're doing. Thank you for giving me
a chance to advertise the bus. Like I said, right now, if you want to donate, go ahead, but I'm not at the point where I'm begging. If people want to contact me, they got things they want to follow up about, even though I'm not on the CSM. It's nice that the devs will still answer my emails.
That's excellent. Good.
Which either means they don't figure out how to block, or
right. They're just being super nice, right?
Or they're just being super nice to the old guy.
Yeah.
But if you want to contact me, I'm on Twitter at Mike Azariah. I answer my emails eventually, so if you want to contact me through there, or if you just see me flying through in one of the buses in space, give me a wave as I'm going by. I always like seeing people. And if you're a really good fitter, there are a few ships I still haven't figured out. The Arbitrator, I can't make a decent fit that I like for. I've got a PVE one, but it always feels half-assed. I like the ship, but I can't fit the damn thing for alpha.
Yeah, we've actually had that conversation on Slack, in ABBA Slack, about the Arbitrator before. It's a very challenging ship for very young players to properly fit. Yes,
like the Caracal is a monster.
Super easy to fit.
Super easy to fit, but the Arby is just I want a better fit. So if somebody has a good alpha, and that is the condition, it's got to be an alpha fit. It can demand training.
Right.
It's a cruiser. I'm okay with that.
Right.
And the other one is if people have decent Gnosis fits. I still haven't found one. I always feel like the Gnosis is the Chevy Nova of.
No, that's a good description. Yeah, I don't know.
Eve. It gets A to B. It does everything okay, but nobody's really proud. Nobody has it as a hot rod car. You understand what I mean?
No, absolutely. Yeah, no. I have a couple fits that I really like, but they're blingy.
But the Gnosis is the only battle cruiser an alpha can get into, and so they flock toward. It's the biggest ship they can fly.
Yeah, we see a lot of them.
And so I would really like to see a decent fit that I'm not going to fit very many and give them away because they're bloody, 87 mil.
Yeah, they're expensive.
But I have some, and occasionally I have draws or just over Christmas I gave a fair amount of stuff away. That's what I do over Christmas. We do the 12 days of Christmas in the Magic School Bus. But I would like, when they ask, I'd like to have fits that I can say, here, this is a fit.
Here's a fit. Yeah, I hadn't thought about the Gnosis as an alpha ship. I mean, like I said, we see a lot of them, but we hadn't really tried to fit that one. So I'll put the team on that.
Yeah, if you've got a team, and so you can help me with information if you want to help Operation. You can help me with donations if you really want to, or you can help me just waving and helping a rookie. It doesn't have to be via the bus, but for the vets who are listening, if you want the game to continue, we need bodies. And CCP needs to continue doing a business. They are a business. And if the customer base drops off, now this is not me being greedy, and it's not why I do the bus, but it is not in your best interest to hound somebody out of the game. It is in your best interest to shoot them, but still convince them it's a good game to stay in.
Yeah, we, as we do, I'll often shoot people who are, we don't always know when we're attacking them, but we find out later that they were very young or they were stupid and they didn't know what they were doing. And one of the things that we do is outreach after the fact. I've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of conversations and lessons and donations back to people that we've killed. We often get our best pilots from that experience, but also I think that in a way it's kind of like Magic School Bus in a way, because we're showing people what's possible and trying to help them learn. And it's not just about blowing up things; it's also about keeping people interested in the game and trying to teach them the right way to play. So, people
to fly with or shoot at. That is my motto.
Exactly. All right, Mike.
Okay, well. Thanks a lot.
Yep, thank you.
My love to Liz, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much, and also to your beautiful wife who's sitting next to you and be very quiet. So
she is. Okay, and I will talk to you another time. But thanks for finally catching up after 2 or 3 months of playing tag.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for being a good sport about it, and have a good rest of your evening.
I will. Thanks a lot.
Mike.